I'm your host. My name is 𝐬𝐨𝐬. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode. Welcome back to Talk the Talk, hopefully your favorite online motoring talk show. Today's guest can be described as a determined, ambitious and vibrant individual who strives to be a better version of himself on a daily basis. He's been part of the motoring industry for more than 2 decades, and he proudly leads his team by example and motivates them in order to reach their goals and grow as individuals. So without further ado, let's welcome Shalendra Rampearie, and he's the dealer principal at Hyundai Kempton Park. And as always, this interview is proudly brought to you by 𝐬𝐸 Solutions, MFC and 𝐬𝐻 by Nedbank. Hello, Shalendra.
Hi, nice to meet you, Desh.
Nice to meet you too, and I must say it's always so refreshing to have a gentleman sitting here championing for women in the motoring trade. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's get our ladies to like you a little bit more. Tell us about your journey.
My journey, so I started off on the day the World Cup started in South Africa.
Oh, 2010.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I was an ex-teacher, and I walked into, we fell into the position. Wow. Somehow or the other, I got a position with Hyundai. And coming from teaching, going into sales, I knew nothing. Wow. Absolutely nothing. I started off at the bottom. I was a used car salesman in Hyundai Pietermaritzburg. And within the next couple of months, I started learning. Started selling cars. Initially, when I first started selling cars, I was like scared to meet a customer. I didn't know what to do. And eventually I learned, and then I started becoming good at what it is, and I was able to see how much of money you can earn from the industry. And from there, I just put my head down and I just kept working. Worked, and then in 2013, I moved up to Johannesburg. Went up to Hyundai Bedfordview as a salesperson. Eventually, I was recognized, and I was taken to Hyundai East Rand, the biggest dealership in the East. And so from there, I was a used car manager, did brilliantly well. And then in 2015, I was offered the position as dealer principal.
Wow.
I was offered the position of dealer principal because of my hard work, and so that's where I am. Still a dealer principal, loving what I'm doing. And when you're a dealer principal, it's no longer about selling. It's more about taking care of people.
Absolutely.
Seeing to your staff's needs. Making sure that your staff actually gets paid is important for me.
Right.
I think the hardest part for me is to see my staff not getting paid, not being happy. So I got to keep pushing, continuously push them to make sure that they get paid, and just to see everybody happy. And more importantly, you get to meet so many customers, different parts of life. But the most important thing for me as a dealer principal is you realize it's not just about selling cars anymore. It's literally about making dreams come true.
Absolutely, because purchasing a vehicle is the second biggest purchase one will make. And I think a lot of people in the motoring trade, working for the motoring trade, do not realize what an impact we have on people's lives. It's all about people. So what do you love most about representing the Hyundai brand?
Okay, so Hyundai, look, when we first started off with Hyundai, we were selling starter vehicles, like entry-level vehicles. And eventually, if you look at the product, how it has evolved over the years, we are now actually selling like a premium quality brand.
I just drove the Tucson now in Kimberley last week. Oh my God, it's absolutely stunning.
And what you're getting for the price, the features that you're getting that's coming standard with the vehicle, it's amazing.
And what about the warranty? You have 7 here.
7 years, I mean, peace of mind.
Absolutely.
And for a company to offer you a 7-year warranty, it tells you that they actually have confidence in their brand.
Absolutely. Tell me, how do you encourage your female staff to move up the ranks, climb the ladder, and be progressive, not to stay stagnant?
So I've started a movement in my dealership for the past 2 years, where I like to get in females fresh. And look, I mean, sales is not for everybody. And a lot of females also come into the industry afraid of doing sales as well. But when they do come into sales, we like to, how can I say, encourage them. I like to sit and teach them.
Absolutely.
And many females that I do have with me, they don't come from the industry at all. And I like to sit with them, I like to teach them the ways and teach them the right ways. And we teach them, we encourage them, we show them how you can sell and how you can make money. But besides that, I have multiple females in my dealership right now where there's like a progression plan for them. So we get you in, you start off as an entry level if you don't want to sell cars. You start off as a receptionist, and eventually now we take you up to being a stock controller. We then take you up to being a service advisor. You know, we send you to study, we do a BBA for you, and you pass and you do well, and eventually you can become a bookkeeper and an accountant. So it's not just, how can I say, only sales.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many other things that you can do within the motor industry.
Aside from that, you mentioned the admin roles, but I mean, there are so many women working in after sales. I mean, I've interviewed women in, in technical roles, and technology has now made provision for women to be able to work in the workshop.
That's quite correct.
I think you have a program as well, because you're part of Motors called the Yes program.
Yes, that's correct. So I just employed somebody else from Yes today, and so I brought her in specifically for the progression. And so my last year's Yes learner, today we actually appointed her on a permanent basis.
I love that.
And the new Yes learner that came in today, within a year, she's going to take the other lady's position because I'm going to promote her to being a stock controller. So I like the progression, I like to teach, and I like to see people grow.
Oh, that's amazing. So what is your opinion? I know you've invited us to your dealership. We've been there to, promote the women in your dealership. But what's your opinion about this platform that's powered by Avo SuperShop and by Nedbank, where we elevate, uplift, educate women and recognize them in the motoring trade?
You see, if we go back a few years ago, not many people knew about women didn't know much about the motoring industry.
Right.
And using this platform, people now can see that, hey, I can go into the motoring industry. It's not only exclusively for men.
Right.
You can go into the motoring industry, and there's so many different things that you can do. So on this platform, people are seeing these things, and people are now entering into the motoring industry.
Thank you so much. And how can men become more prominent, and more active in advocating for women in our trade?
So, like within my dealership, I have very, very senior male executives.
Okay.
And so what we do is that I would take a female that has just come in. We sit with this person. They would buddy with the salesman, and he will teach. And that's what I like to do. He must teach and he must show the right ways, because he's had so many years of experience.
That's it.
And he can just impart that knowledge onto the other person. And she can eventually stand on her own, and she will become something.
Look, Shalene, when I started my platforms, it was all about ladies. I was not going to invite men. And then I partnered with an amazing legend in the motoring trade, Jeff Osborne.
Yes.
And he's actually our ambassador. And he introduced me to phenomenal men in the motoring trade. I then became acquainted with Brad Capital, the owner of Fury, and he's become a big part of my organization. Fane and Dirk van der Walt, the owners of We Buy Cars, were on my platform.
Yes.
Michael Mabasa from NAMSA was. And these and then I realized, like, oh my God, there's so much of knowledge. We can be as women, we should be sponges for men like this that can impart their knowledge, because we were unfortunately in a position that was underprivileged.
Yes.
To have the knowledge in order for us to gain more insight into what we should know in order for us to progress. And
Correct.
This is why you are here, and we thank you so much for sharing what you know, and for inviting more young females to come into our trade. We thank you so much.
And I encourage them to come along.
Yes.
It's not subjected only just for men, and come into the industry and you can do well. It's not just a job, it can become a career.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Shalendra, for joining us.
All right, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome. Viewers, we would like to thank you for your continued support and encourage you to like and share our content. Our non-profit companies, the Motoring Woman of the Year Awards, powered by MFC, and Avo by Nedbank, and the Talk Studios, sponsored by Sariti Solutions and Avo by Nedbank, are platforms aimed at empowering, uplifting, and celebrating the women of motoring South Africa. We are not just telling stories, we are changing lives. If you are searching for a new or pre-owned vehicle, please visit www.auto.avo.africa. We have a wide range of vehicles on sale for you to choose from, and we only advertise on behalf of reliable and trustworthy MFC accredited dealerships. This car listing portal is user-friendly, and you can also find vehicle reviews, car maintenance tips, and automotive advice, all courtesy of Talk Studios. Okay, so ladies, you've heard it. Education is everything. I'm going to leave you with a quote. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And I always say 90% of the success is in the planning. Ladies, I'm sure all of you have heard and even said yourself that every action has a reaction. We call it karma in my culture. Thus, if you put in a lot of effort, determination, and hard work into reaching your goals, you will achieve it. It might take some time, but you'll have to be patient, but you will receive the reward, that I can assure you of. I'm going to leave you with another quote by my guru, Sadhguru, and that's, there can be no effect without cause. And with that, I would like to remind you that the question should never be who's going to let me. It should always be who's going to stop me.